What's good, everybody? It's your boy Adam, frontman of your new favorite band, Modern BC, your future favorite MC and one half of New Age X. Shout out to the crew that I do my music with. You'll see all the links for the music down in the description. But what's up, everybody? Hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday evening. Trying a little different time slot, see how this works, but I'm still sticking to my afternoon slot for the most part. But I figure I could experiment with it, see how it goes in the beginning, just in case, got to see what's up. But, got some interesting topics on deck today. It's been a good day. Hope everybody's Monday wasn't too Monday-ified, you know what I'm saying? I know it's a holiday, too, so hopefully y'all been chilling. Had a good day off. Some barbecuing, all the good stuff, Get you a little something to smoke, a little something, So, yeah. But today, we're going to talk about the Mystic Mac and some Invisible Fire. Ricky Bobby was telling the truth, man. We owe that man an apology. I'm just saying, you're going to understand after we watch. I looked into it a little bit. I'm going to be reacting live to these videos, but, I saw it was real. My mind was blown, I'm sure this might not be new to some, but it's new to me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to looking into that. But first, we're going to talk about the Mystic Mac himself and what a character he is, man. Connor McGregor is, to the MMA world, the biggest personality they've ever seen. Probably the at the peak, he was their brightest star that they've had yet. They haven't had anyone surpass him as far as just popularity and draw power, all of that. He basically, in my mind, I look at him like he's the Floyd Mayweather almost of MMA, just without the undefeated record. But as far as being on the mic, you know what I mean? Cutting a promo, so to speak, and just building a hype for fights and getting people to come out and root against him. You know what I mean? A lot of people were watching to watch him lose, just like with Floyd. But yeah, it's the closest an analog I could think of. Can't even talk right now. But yeah, so we're gonna look into that. Patrick CC dropped a video. I saw that and I was just like, I'm just gonna react because he always does good videos. You'll probably see me react to his stuff a little bit on here. Maybe more than a little bit, depending. But, yeah, we'll see how this plays out, man. I'm going to get this queued up here. And yeah, it's a good video. We're going to be here for a little bit tonight. But let's enjoy. Sit back. Relax. Get your puff on. Get your sip on if you're doing that. Drink some water for sure. Either way, make sure you're hydrated, baby. We need that. Pretty sure that's Patrick CC's thing. So a little homage to him. Drink your water. But yeah, let me get this rolling. Let's see what's up with Connor McGregor. Fascinating story.
Connor McGregor is not even in the top 10 greatest UFC fighters of all time, but he is number 1 as far as overall impact on the sport of mixed martial arts. He was the first fighter in history to hold 2 UFC championships in 2 different divisions. The top 7 most watched UFC fights of all time are his last 7 fights, and he is the undisputed, undefeated king.
The top 7? You see what that's wild. The top 7? Good Lord, man.
King of trash talk.
Who do you think would give you the hardest fight out of anybody on stage?
Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't move. They're not. Who the is that guy?
If Connor McGregor.
That might be the best press conference moment ever. Oh, hush, you trying to my stream, my alarm and shit. Who the fuck is that guy? Oh my God, bro. That's burning my memory. That shit is great. That's the best response, yo. Yo, honestly, Connor, you might need to go into the pro wrestling world, man. That might be the move for you, dog. If you can get your shit under control, man, you will be a hell of a pro wrestler. Imagine him on the mic. Shit.
McGregor walked away from the fight game at his peak, we would remember him as the ultimate rags-to-riches success story, an Irishman who took over the world with nothing but his fists, his words, and his loyal partner by his side. But he destroyed that. His overinflated ego, money over everything attitude, and addiction to drugs and alcohol became a toxic recipe for disaster. This led to an endless cycle of shameful behavior, a string of humiliating losses, and multiple sexual assault allegations with one ending in a guilty verdict. Connor McGregor has truly lived up to his nickname, the Notorious, which means to be well known for something bad. Today we're...
Yeah. This is how I knew they showed that proper 12 when he was showing his whiskey. This is when I knew in my mind that it was all bad and going downhill, and I don't know if he's coming back for Connor McGregor. I don't know if y'all remember, but he went to this bar back in his hometown, and he brought in some proper 12, and he was offering everybody shots. And this old man was sitting at the bar, and he refused the shot. And Connor got pissed and smacked the dude. I don't know if he punched him. I think he punched him. He had like charges pressed and all of that. But I was like, yo, he punched him for turning down your whiskey as an OG. Like, something's wrong. There's more behind that, man. In my mind, I was thinking that's like you yacked out of your mind kind of behavior. You know what I mean? I've heard allegedly that he does a lot of that, you know, and some other things. That behavior matches up. That's craziness. But yeah, once you do something like that, I don't know if you're coming back from that being that far beside yourself.
We're going to deep dive into the rise, fall, and future of Connor McGregor, the man who seemingly lost the biggest fight of his life, the fight against himself. Becoming a world champion fighter was somewhat of a destiny for Connor McGregor, who grew up on the south side of Dublin.
Who the fuck is that
Ireland
guy?
has a rich history of fighters from the ancient Celts to modern-day boxing champions. However, the pursuit of being a world-class fighter requires relentless training and money. Teenage McGregor worked 9 to 5 as a plumbing apprentice, a job that he hated and took most of his time away from the gym training with John Kavanagh, until one day he decided to quit the job and pursue his dream full-time.
And pursue this dream of becoming a world champion in mixed martial arts, and that's what I did. I drove home. When I got home, my mother and father said, "How come you're not still at work?" And I said, "I'm never going to go back to that site another day in my life." And then all hell broke loose. But
This was a risky move, but his coaches and his family realized Connor was destined for greatness on February 17th,
chips in, man. You gotta respect that.
Where at the age of 18, McGregor made his mixed martial arts debut in an amateur fight against Kieran Campbell. After destroying his opponent via TKO in the first round, he turned pro and was signed by the Irish Cage of Truth promotion. Connor was more motivated than ever, and nothing could distract him on this path to glory, besides one young woman named Dee Devlin, who would soon become the foundation he didn't realize he needed.
But we met at a friend's party like way back, and then the usual social media, a little bit of a like here and a like there, and then a message, and the new age way of meeting.
Which social media at the time?
Bebo.
Before the world was cheering Connor's name, before he was a multi-millionaire, Dee Devlin was doing everything she could to support his dream.
He's never gonna lose, you know, in my eyes anyway. Definitely not. Yeah. Connor'd go training up in Rathkill till about 10. When FBG was up in Rathkill, he used to go till about 10. We just drive home, listen to music, and Connor'd be saying, "Look, one day, yeah, a dream. One day, I'm here." Yeah.
One day.
Her loyalty to him did not go unnoticed,
man.
And he
See
made
the look
it
at
his
her eyes,
mission
man.
to make sure she was taken.
You see the admiration of look at her eyes, man. That chick was smitten. You know what I'm saying? If they don't look at you like that, man, don't rock with them. You gotta go like you. She like him, man. She's still riding with him. Man, through all of the craziness. That's, you know what I'm saying? Wow. All right, D.
Taken care of.
That's a good look. My girlfriend has been there from the start. She's helped me throughout this career. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So definitely I look to spoil her. She does not work anymore. I essentially hired her. That to me was a special thing to be able to do. My girlfriend worked very hard throughout the years coming up and stuck by me when essentially I had absolutely nothing. I only had a dream that I was telling her. So for me to be able to take her out of work and give her everything she's ever wanted and take her to travel the world with her, that fills me with pride, so it keeps me going.
With Dee by his side and a small circle of highly skilled coaches
man was
and
hungry.
trainers, he would go on a
Fighting for more than
winning
himself.
streak from 2011 to 2012. Connor won the Cage Warriors featherweight and lightweight championships, making him a 2-division champ in the promotion. As you can imagine, Connor felt unstoppable.
No matter what people say, people can put me in a round, people could throw bricks at me and call me every name under the sun. I'd still walk out there thinking I'm the Don Juan, you know what I mean? Thinking I'm the number one. That's the way I just feel. I don't give a about nothing else, you know what I mean?
However, Connor did not get the chance to defend his two
They're
titles
saying, "I'm the
because
man,
he just earned
motherfucker."
himself a contract with the #1 combat sports promotion in the world, the UFC, and it only took 1 minute and 7 seconds to defeat his first opponent, Marcus Brimage.
Thank you very much. Dana, 60 G's, baby!
The meteoric rise of
You see
McGregor
that?
had officially.
You see that, man? That meant the world. That y'all was life-changing. Just life-changing, man. It's crazy to see this version of him just hungry, humble, trying to come up out of where he's from. Like he said with that job, he's like, I ain't never going back. That wasn't just his mentality about that job. That's his mentality about his stature in life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back to that station. Nope, it's never happening. It's wild. I almost forgot. I remember watching these fights back in the day and seeing his rise to prominence, but you forget the more separated you come, he became bigger than life, and then you see what he's doing. But let's get back to this, man. Like it's wild to see that 60 G's, baby, and then that dude made 100 million fighting Floyd or whatever he made. It's crazy, man.
Actually begun. Fight fans all around the world were shocked with their first impression of the young scrapper, but they loved it, specifically the Irish UFC fans. Ireland was more than just Conor's birthplace, it was his identity, and he vowed to honor the fighting Irish legacy.
That national
And
pride.
President of the UFC, Dana White, had dollar signs in his eyes. He could see Conor's potential star power.
Kid is totally relaxed. He's a beast. I'm impressed. Dresses well. Handsome kid. Seems pretty smart.
Conor quickly started steamrolling through the featherweight division. His fight style at this point is what made him so lethal, and abandoning this would ultimately lead to his demise. Most people remember him for his lethal left-hand knockout power, but in the beginning, he relied on it less. His stance was wide and karate-like, complemented by unorthodox movement, constantly bouncing in and out of range, using lateral movements to create angles for his strikes. He remained light on his feet, which allowed him to quickly deliver spinning back kicks and front snap kicks to the body. As if that wasn't scary enough, he could read his opponents while remaining calm, seemingly unfazed while standing toe-to-toe with another warrior. But that calm and collected confidence quickly turned into cockiness, specifically around the build-up for his 2014 fight against Dustin Poirier.
His weakness is obviously his chin. Don't get me wrong, I like the kid. He's a quiet little hillbilly from the back ass of nowhere. I've nothing against the guy, you know what I mean? I'm sure he grew up...
Quiet little hillbilly.
He's a nice
God damn, bro.
Cletus, or, his cousin's probably named Cletus or something. He's a nice kid. His chin is going to be cracked, and it's going to be cracked there.
Telling you, he needs to be a wrestler, man. Cutting promos.
Is in trouble here. So this is just the next step.
He gets a rocker run for his money.
Get removed. It's going to get put into my collection, and I'm going to get on my way to the goal.
The thing that made Conor's trash talk so special was that he backed it up. He invented the Mystic Mac prediction, where he would describe the outcome before each match. He told the world that Chad Mendes was too small, and that he would have a few good scrambles, but then Conor would pick him apart, and ultimately become the interim featherweight champion.
Look at that.
And he did just that. He also received
damn.
$3,285,000 for his win over Mendes, solidifying a true rags.
I will fight anybody for that kind of money. I don't care. I'll fight anybody. Just saying. Just putting it out there for the record. Let's do it. Shit. Anybody. I don't care.
To Rich's story.
When you sign to fight me, it's a celebration. You ring back home, you ring your wife. Baby, we done it. We're rich, baby. Connor McGregor made us rich. Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby. So don't say you would not take that fight, because you would take that fight like everyone else up here would take the fight against me if it was offered, regardless of belts or any of that shit. I'm the money fighting the male shit at all weight divisions, so f*** everybody else up here.
But even though the belt was wrapped around his waist, it had an asterisk next to it, as he was technically the interim champ. So his real, undisputed chance at glory would be against Jose Aldo. The UFC 194 press conference was held in Ireland, where not a single...
Aldo was my guy for a long time. That was my top fighter for a minute. I love the way he'd go to the ring. Just no BS. Just stare at you just like, yeah. And then he wouldn't even look. He's just like, nope, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. But he'd be quiet and just vicious, man. Like, all about that business. I rocked with Jose Aldo. And then this happened.
Full person was
still
rooting
rocking,
for Jose.
still in the GOATs. This night was heartbreaking.
Aldo was clearly fighting a different beast. He had never felt this kind of pressure. Conor got into Aldo's head so badly before the fight that he was able to perfectly predict how he would finish Jose.
I think the right hand could be, if you look at I felt when we stared down, I felt his right hand was twitching a little bit, but it was a subtle tell for me. He is ready to unload that right hand, but I feel that could be a downfall for him. If he lets that right hand go, I will not be there.
Conor practiced his step-back left-hand counterpunch to Jose Aldo's right hand, and that's exactly what happened
perfect
in the real
counter, bro.
fight. In just 13 seconds, Jose threw a right, McGregor stepped back and countered with his left, and knocked out Jose Aldo,
Put it
officially
right on the
making
button,
him
man.
the UFC
That was a perfect
featherweight
punch.
champion. The craziest part about this win is that Jose Aldo was undefeated for nearly 7 years straight at this point, successfully defending his title 9 times, only to be made looking like an amateur against McGregor. Connor earned the respect of MMA fans.
What happens
For
is you get
those that
smacked on
thought
the
he was
button,
all
man.
talk, his win against
Nobody
Aldo
goes-
made it difficult
goes
for
through
anyone
that.
to argue against him
keep
being
standing.
a world-class fighter. The fact that he was actually lethal, combined with his electricity on the microphone, brought millions of new UFC fans in. His fight against Mendes and Aldo each secured over 1 million pay-per-view buys, earning the UFC about $60 million per fight. But even though he was praised as unstoppable by his fans, some top fighters saw him as a clown, undeserving of the hype.
How do you feel about it? Yeah, Connor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for. I'm gonna fight you. You know what's the real fight? What's the real money fight is me.
Many fans reminisce on Connor's beef with
them
Nate
boys,
Diaz
them
as
Diaz
Pete-
boys. Shit, they lived the fight, man. You could hear it. Like they gave it all up for fighting. When they talk, they might have the worst punch slurs I've ever heard, man. Them boys are warriors, but God, when they talk, it's just like oof. It's almost like a cautionary tale about getting into combat sports.
Peak entertainment, both inside the octagon and out. Their trash talk moments were iconic due to Nate's reputation as a brute street fighter holding on to his last few brain cells, and Connor firing off razor-sharp, witty clapbacks.
To talk about money, because we are the business network and the business of the U.S. and all that
I'll take
sort of
over
stuff.
from here, Nate. You can bounce. Take a coffee break, Nate. And by coffee break, I mean bring me my coffee.
Shit.
No.
Oh,
They're
man.
gonna Give us a quick count to 10, both of you gentlemen, if you don't mind, just if you wouldn't mind counting to 10.
Nate can only count to 5.
Oh my
Nate was
God.
immune to Connor's mind games, mostly because he didn't understand them, and that
Oh,
showed in their
shit.
battle at UFC 196, where the two put on an absolute brawl before Diaz shocked the world, submitting Connor with a rear naked choke
Warriors.
and bringing his momentum to a screeching halt. UFC 196 was the
Two
most
brothers you
successful
don't fuck with,
pay-per-view
I'm
in
telling you.
promotional history
No,
at
win
that
or lose,
point, securing
you lose.
1.32 million buys, which meant that Connor had helped build the UFC to its highest level, only to lose at the top of the mountain. But Connor was the UFC's golden boy, and the promotion seemed to make business decisions that were in his best interest. Within 2 days of losing, the rematch was set up, and 6 months later, McGregor would get a chance to re-establish himself as the unstoppable Irish beast.
I'm the whole of Stockton. I'm ready for whatever he has to bring. Your whole team, little crackhead SS. You'll do nothing.
You'll do nothing.
Shut your mouth. You'll do nothing. You'll do f***ing nothing. Not one of you will do nothing. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck you.
Connor being the underdog built more hype than ever seen before in
You'll
the
do
UFC.
nothing.
Droves of new fight fans started pouring in.
I
and
ain't
the
gonna
event
lie. I miss UFC being like this, man. I mean, prior to all the wait, was this prior to the Reebok? I feel like it was right around that time, actually. But man, old school UFC had a whole lot more personality than it does now, man. I mean, I still enjoy watching it. It's still a spectacle. Fighters are getting crazy, you know what I mean? But something about this, man, it was like the perfect mix of, you know, entertainment and fighting. You know what I'm saying? Sports entertainment, but really being a sport, you know? But yeah, we'll see though. We'll see. I'm sure it'll have its ebbs and flows like boxing. You know what I mean? We've had our eras in boxing where it was amazing, and then you have downturns. It's not even a downturn. It's just different. I can't even say it's a downturn. That's talking shit that don't even make sense. I used the wrong word. But yeah, I want to see it get more. We need another guy like this, man.
broke the record they just set, making UFC 202 the highest selling pay-per-view with 1.65 million buys. It is still the second highest selling event they have ever done. The fight was a vicious blow-for-blow bloodbath. Connor still had never been knocked down in his entire career, proving that he didn't just deliver damage, he could take it too. The fight came down to a judge's decision, and many still debate that Nate actually won, but Connor was awarded the victory, successfully redeeming himself at the peak of the UFC mountain.
You have this dude. Give us your thoughts. Surprise, surprise, motherfucker. The king is back.
Connor had even more negotiating power. The UFC was at his fingertips. Instead of going back down to featherweight to defend his belt, he demanded a title shot against Eddie Alvarez in the lightweight division, where a win would make him the first fighter in history to hold 2 championship belts at the same time. The fight was made quickly, scheduled less than 3 months after his win over Diaz, again proving the UFC was prioritizing his interests. And during the build-up for this fight, Eddie made
they really
a
were
crucial
fighting for that
mistake,
dude.
trying to go back and forth with Connor on the mic.
I feel Eddie. I've nothing against. Careful. Be careful. I've nothing against Edward. Oh what? Careful. What you gonna do? You gonna do something over there? Yeah, shut your mouth. I run New York. I run this home.
Oh, you got.
I'm gonna KO you inside 1 round. His question is, why you talking? That's his question. Why the f*** you up there talking? Say it like it is your place.
He laughing, but all he had to say was be careful, bro. Oof.
No, I came for an apology from him. I want an apology for saying my wife and kids. Suck these big artists.
This was trash talking Connor at his peak.
I want an apology for my wife and kids, bro. That's your shit talk. That's your shit talk against probably the best motor mouth in sports in Ali. Bruh. You might as well just take that silent approach, man. Like, it's how you give him signs. He knows he's getting to you. You start talking your shit and you're lacking. You ain't got the confidence. You start stuttering and you're leaning into it. And he just whipping it out there. Pause. Just, you know what I'm saying, though?
Funny, exciting, unpredictable, and still capable of backing up his words.
Don't give off what Eddie says. The Irish are back. We've taken back control of New York City. I run New York City. I'm a fucking pimp. Rockin' Gucci mix. And without me, this whole fucking shit sink.
They practically sold out Madison Square Garden just to do the weigh-in.
That's
The magnitude of
crazy.
Conor McGregor's fan base was
That's
unprecedented,
crazy.
and surely anyone else would implode
Oh
with
my
nervousness. But on the historic night of UFC 205,
For the
Conor
weigh-in.
looked as relaxed and focused as ever, knocking down Eddie 3 times in the first round, and then ultimately getting the TKO finish in round 2 to become the first champ in UFC history.
I've spent a lot of time, Joe, slating everybody in the company. Backstage, I'm starting fights off everybody. I've ridiculed everyone on the roster. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Amazing.
Did the reality. Oh, that looks good. That looks good.
This moment, raising the 2 belts,
WWE is calling, my man.
Connor McGregor. Sure, he made enemies with his relentless trash talk, cocky demeanor, and favoritism within the UFC, but his impact on mixed
Shit,
martial
AEW,
arts
you don't want to take
positively
over
affected
wrestling.
everyone.
Go
More
after this dude.
exposure, more fans pouring in, which led to more money and more business opportunities. Some loved him, some loved to hate him, but you had to respect him. But that respect was about to slowly diminish, leading to the demise of one of the most electrifying entertainers in sports history. For the first time in his career, McGregor started to slow down, and it made sense. He took no breaks on his ascent to the top, and he was expecting a baby with his unwavering girlfriend Dee. But since he refused
That
to
didn't even
defend
look
the
the same
featherweight
person,
belt
man.
that he won back in 2015, he was forced to
like
vacate
4
his
different
title,
Conor
ending
McGregors.
his time as the 2-division champion. His agent said, no matter what happens, nobody will ever be able to take those belts away from him. Nobody has beat him for those belts. So the way I look at it is, whatever business decision Conor decides to make, it's a smart one. It became abundantly clear that smart business decisions were Conor's top priority. No true champion would just let their title be stripped from them. But Conor was made an offer he simply could not refuse. An exhibition
gloves on,
fight
son.
against the undefeated boxing world champion Floyd Mayweather. One singular bout that was set to make him more money than his entire UFC career combined. From the very beginning, real fight fans looked at the McGregor vs. Mayweather bout as a cash grab. Floyd
Why
was
they
a
got that
retired
picture?
40-year-old and Conor was not a boxer.
Why they got him cuddled up? Come on, man. Look, he got love in his eyes too.
boxer. It was a win-win situation for McGregor. Either he knocks out Floyd and gives the undefeated legend his first loss, or Connor loses and everyone says, yeah, well, he's not a boxer. The build-up was one of the most over-the-top and chaotic promotional tours in combat sports history, with 4 different massive press conferences where the two did these long, drawn-out speeches and stood toe-to-toe, seemingly pretending to hate each other. It felt way less genuine and personal than any beef we have seen Connor in before. It was mildly entertaining, but mostly awkward and exhaustive.
50 strippers on his payroll this man has. What the f is he doing with that strip club? Carrying a school bag on stage. What are you doing with a school bag on stage? You can't even read. The f is man came to fight for you. Shut your f***ing mouth. A 40-year-old man. What the f? He was wearing high heels yesterday.
Despite this being a money play, Connor did take his training seriously, and he did show some impressive boxing prowess against a legend. But realistically, he had no chance in lasting 12 rounds in a different sport,
no.
And he was defeated via TKO in the 10th
not
round.
out that boy.
Connor never looked happier to lose a fight. That's because he knew he just made history again. But this time, he was set for life. This was the second highest selling pay-per-view in history, with 4.3 million buys, generating over $600 million in revenue.
That was
the
a fun
Nevada
night.
State Athletic Commission
Watching
announced that
boxing.
Mayweather reportedly earned around $300 million in total from the fight, while McGregor earned around $100 million. And on top of that, Connor was announcing his next big business venture that would generate him even more money than the Floyd fight.
Introducing proper number 12, Irish Apple.
That's wild. He made more off of that than the Floyd fight? I've never even seen that shit anywhere. I'm sure people have. Who's had this shit? I've never had proper 12, never seen proper 12. You know, I wonder how good it is. I've wondered if it's good whiskey. But god damn, it made him more than the fucking Mayweather fight?
Award-winning tasty, proper number 12 Irish whiskey.
After securing a lifelong fortune and reaching the pinnacle of MMA and boxing, many wondered what Connor would do next. Because
where's
if
the
he
hunger
returned
to
to fight
fight?
in the
You
UFC,
got
there was
half
only
a billion.
one fight that made sense, and that man
You
was
probably got half a
Khabib
billion, quarter
Nurmagomedov,
billion.
the undefeated lightweight contender who had a fight style that many felt was too much for Connor to handle. Khabib was the most dominant wrestler the UFC had ever seen. He mauls his opponents until they are exhausted, then goes in for the submission. Connor is a vicious striker
That's a
whose
different animal,
weakness is
dude.
in his ground game and cardio. The result predictions were simple. Either Khabib can't handle Connor's lethal strikes, or Connor can't escape Khabib's dominant wrestling. In the beginning of 2018, Connor was
Yo, Khabib, I don't know if y'all seen that footage of him just in the corner. He's got a dude pinned in the corner. And I want to say it was before the McGregor fight. And he's just, whap, whap, you must quit. Bow, you must quit. It is my destiny. He's literally saying this shit while he is smacking this dude. They're both on the ground. You can hear the shots. It's the perfect, the camera is literally a foot away from homeboy that's leaning against the cage getting smacked. We should look that up if I remember, we'll look it up before we move on to the invisible fire section of this stream.
stripped of his other belt, the UFC lightweight title, due to inactivity. It had been 2 years since his last fight, and he was preventing guys like Khabib from getting a shot at the belt. Additionally, an unexpected personal rivalry formed between the two after Khabib pressed one of Connor's friends, Artem Lobov. Artem called Khabib a pussy for pulling out from fights a couple of times and said that a true champion fights no matter what, and that he would slap Khabib when he saw him. Khabib and his crew approached Artem, where Khabib slapped Artem multiple times and told him to keep his mouth shut. Connor retaliated on behalf of his friend in the most dangerous way possible, bringing 30 or 40 of his goons to attack a bus that Khabib was on as he was exiting the venue, and throwing a metal
How you got
dolly
30,
through
40
the window which
goons
injured a
in that
different
shit?
UFC fighter. This bus was jam-packed with other
Again, WWE shit.
fighters, press, UFC employees.
Remind me like
that
the
were
Rock
all
and Stone
caught in
Cold
the middle of
rivalry, some shit like
chaos.
that.
Khabib was confused by Connor's antics.
Attitude era,
he had
baby.
a very simple way of settling their differences.
I'm gonna come, just send me message. Of course they know, a lot of security here, media, it's gonna be big, you understand, they come with 30 people. Come here, send me message, like location, I'm gonna come. Whatever you
Yo,
want, that's
that
my
man is not
Iowa,
to be fucked
New
with,
York,
yo.
Brooklyn or Moscow.
Him and John Jones probably the GOATs in my
Tell
opinion.
me, Where?
A warrant was issued for McGregor's arrest, and he turned himself into the
And Mighty
authorities
Mouse.
later that day, with charges of assault and criminal mischief being pressed. It ended with a mere slap on the wrist, a $50,000 fine, and the right to travel freely after bail. Dana White described McGregor's actions as the most disgusting thing in UFC's history. Dana, he's going to jail. Most disgusting thing ever happened in the UFC. Also, Dana, let's promo the shit out of this and book Connor Khabib ASAP, with Connor's whiskey brand being the sponsor. Khabib was hungry for the fight against Connor. His management said, he doesn't like the guy, we don't like the guy, we don't like his team, and we don't like what he represents. Khabib was a different type of beast. He didn't care about the hype, he was not interested
Yes,
in
he
talking or Connor's antics. He just wanted to fight.
We have to make him humble.
My kind of fighters, bro.
New York right now, right? Like, what happens if it's when you see each other on the street?
Fight?
Fight in the street?
Fight, of course.
Not for money, just to fight?
Of course, we're gonna fight.
Who wins a street fight, you or Connor?
But I never always fight in this.
No matter where it is, you're
How many times he tap? His tap machine. You know, if
Tap
we're
machine.
gonna meet somewhere, we're gonna fight 100%.
Connor, on the other hand, was the most obnoxious we had ever seen him, which
saying
was
about
likely
that
due
life.
in part to the alcohol consumption.
It's shooting the boss's birthday.
I'm not underestimating.
Here's a card of a Diana, proper as well. Happy birthday,
Like,
showing the boss.
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I never drink.
Yeah, man, backwards.
Why
Yeah,
don't
get
you
me,
drink?
get me hands on you,
That's a
get
weird
me
question.
boys, get me and the oldest Boston animal, Dana was the OG of the fight game.
Connor was trying to play
The OG of the
psychological
fight
game with
game.
Khabib, insulting
Man,
his
he's-
father, his country,
Whew.
his religion, desperately trying to get a rise out of Khabib.
I never want to take picture with someone. Doesn't matter. It's president.
Are you disrespecting your president Vladimir Putin?
No, why not?
Are you disrespecting your president Vladimir Putin?
No.
Explain what you mean. Are you disrespecting?
Okay, I'm
your
gonna
president?
explain. Sit. I'm gonna explain. about
Like I
about
said,
picture.
fake respect out of fear.
Okay,
That's all
about
these
picture.
men are known for. They were chased from the land to the edge
Man.
of the cliffs. My family, my bloodline, the McGregor clan, we stood and we fought. We fought the English Empire. So much so that our name was banished for 100 years by King James at the time.
Okay, why you guys change your language?
Shut
Okay,
your mouth.
you guys have your own language. What's wrong with you?
No matter what type of spectacle Connor tried
Damn.
to make, Khabib's direct, straightforward energy just made Connor look foolish.
For me, this is more than defend my title. You know, for me, it's personal. Honestly, for me, it's personal.
Yet, despite Connor's antics, he was clearly the fan favorite, as thousands of boos rained from above anytime Khabib spoke.
First of all, I want to say, Alhamdulillah, God gave me everything. Alhamdulillah. I know you got this, you don't like this. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna smash your boy, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smash your boy.
The hype for this
That
fight
probably
was
felt so good,
unimaginable,
talking all
and
that shit
UFC
to the
had
people
predictions
knowing.
that this was going to be the highest selling pay-per-view
Man.
of all time. When the two men stepped
McGregor
into the ring
stayed
at
humble,
UFC
man. You
229,
can talk shit and
there
be
was no
humble
more time
too,
to talk.
you know,
Connor
to a
did press
degree.
forward in the beginning, but he came in flat-footed, anticipating Khabib's takedowns. He was absolutely mauled
Maybe
in the
not
first
humble,
two
but
rounds, with
you could
Khabib
avoid
nearly
hubris.
TKOing him. Connor was breathing heavy, exhausted, looking like he was regretting every bit of trash talk. Some argue he actually won the third round, but it's only likely because Khabib was resting. At the end of round 3, Khabib said, "Let's talk now," and Connor replied, "It's only business," which Khabib interpreted as him waving a white flag, a sign of weakness, begging and pleading for his life. Ultimately, Khabib decided to finally finish this thing and submitted Connor via neck crank in the 4th round. He said he would make Connor tap, and that's exactly what he did. Then,
machine.
all hell broke loose. Khabib jumped out of the cage after the bell and attacked Connor's team. Then Khabib's team jumped in the ring and sucker punched Connor. We knew this fight was personal, but we didn't know it would get this bad. Khabib was acting out of character. His behavior was heavily demonized by the UFC, resulting in a $2 million fine. Then again, Connor constantly did the same things, if not worse, but it was used as promotion. As Connor arrived back to the locker room, he burst into tears. He didn't just lose, he got absolutely demolished, and he made a fool of himself along the way.
Can you describe the emotions after a loss like that?
You know, it stings real bad about this in the fight business. I've been on the end of many defeats in my
face,
life, and
man.
I've rose back, so I'll not shy away from it. I will not make excuses for it. I will assess it and come back.
I am going to make him humble. I am going to teach him respect. He stood by his words. Khabib, the true champ. This fight broke the UFC all-time pay-per-view record at 2.4 million buys,
Damn,
and it's hard to
smashed the
see
record.
anything topping those numbers anytime soon. If Connor won, he could have easily retired and be considered one of the greatest of all time, but he was only 30, and retiring at a loss could not be the end of his legacy, not the illustrious champ
That's crazy. He was
larger-than-life
only
hero
30 when
image
that
he
happened?
crafted for himself. But how was he going to compete against other UFC lightweights? Habib exposed his weaknesses. His cardio was substandard, making him unable to go hard into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. He was sleeping in silk pajamas and driving Maybachs. Other guys were hungry, begging for a
comfortable, man.
shot. And on top of all of that, he was focused on developing proper 12, which took his free time away from the gym and into the bar. You can imagine all these destructive thoughts constantly racing through Connor's head while he tried to bury them with bottles of whiskey. Connor took to Twitter to announce he was retiring from MMA. Many were unsure if this was a negotiating tactic or a revelation from his devastating loss. But then, 24 hours later, it was revealed that McGregor came under investigation for sexual assault in Dublin. And although this didn't lead to an arrest, nor did many of his fans believe the allegations were true, this wouldn't be the last time he gets accused of this same deplorable behavior. McGregor was then caught on camera sucker punching an old man in a pub. The story behind the attack was never truly revealed. Only assumptions were made by assessing the clip without audio, but there is no justification for a pro fighter to sucker punch anyone, let alone an old man. Connor also smacked a man's phone for filming him, then stomping on it until it crumbled to pieces. McGregor was arrested on charges of felony strong-armed robbery and criminal mischief.
Fiend
MMA
behavior,
fighters
bro.
have spent decades trying to prove to the world that their
Smacking
sport is
people
one
and
of
shit?
honor,
Come on,
class,
bro.
and grace, and that all fighters are not simply street thugs. It's understandable to put on a character and act like a thug to sell a fight. It's another to actually be one in the streets towards people who are not a real threat. As if it couldn't get any worse, McGregor faced his second sexual assault allegation relating to a complaint that a woman in her 20s was sexually assaulted in a vehicle parked outside a Dublin pub. Connor's team tried to express that it was nothing more than rumors, but these strings of controversies were starting to seriously impact his reputation. Seemingly in an effort to gain some positive press, he came out of retirement to fight Donald Cerrone. Donald was a journeyman, currently on a 2-fight loss streak at nearly 40 years old. Many saw it as an easy win for Connor to gain back the spotlight, and in the press conferences, he sported a demeanor that
Cowboy looking like the Undertaker over there. That jacket's dope. Python. Woo!
Compete so many times. It's hard not to respect Donald right now at this stage, and he has my respect.
Clean,
and
son.
although there will be blood spilled on January 18th, it will not be bad blood.
UFC 246 was another electrifying Connor McGregor fight, finishing Cerrone by TKO in just 40 seconds. Connor fans thought he was back, as the Irish Beast came out in the post-fight interview taunting anyone who dared to fight him, only for him to once again announce his retirement on Twitter. Oddly enough, if he did retire here, it could have been seen as a graceful exit, a nice comeback victory where he showed class throughout the whole process, but something would draw him back to the octagon. Connor also finally announced his engagement with his longtime partner Dee Devlin. She stood by his side through all the highs and lows, from rags to riches, and now they finally felt it was time to tie the knot. And just like the last time he made some surprising life updates, shortly after came accusations. Connor was arrested on suspicion of indecent exposure
Just
and
wildin',
attempted
man.
sexual assault in
On
France.
on an Antonio Brown type energy, man. Like this, the kind of shit. And there's a lot of parallels between him and AB. That dude was in the pool. I think it was in Florida or something. And there's footage of him flashing people in the pool and just wilding, man. The sexual assault or smexual, how we supposed to say it on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Trying to get chopped down. Can we just talk, man? Can we just loosen it up and let people have freedom of speech? You know what I'm saying? We don't cover the topics that need to be covered anyway. Let's say what they are. Let us speak the name, baby. But man, there's so many parallels between those two. It's crazy.
AFP Sports stated, McGregor was the subject of a hearing by the police, where he vigorously denies any accusations of misconduct. He has been interviewed and released. After an investigation conducted by French authorities, TMZ obtained a document from French prosecutors declaring that they didn't find enough evidence to move forward with a case against McGregor. Whether it be genuine false allegations or his own reckless behavior, he could not escape the negative publicity, and it almost started to look like the UFC acted as therapy or a PR campaign to restore his reputation. McGregor decided to once again enter the cage, this time against Dustin Poirier, and again he came in with a humble, respectful attitude.
After that loss, many years ago, he rose up, became champion. He's given so much back. I'm honored to share this octagon with this man. I know we have this competitive fire, and it's still there. There's still that.
You look a lot older with them glasses on. That's crazy.
It's going to be a good firework-filled bout. The respect is admirable for this man from me.
Don't want to make it seem like we're up here giving each other back massages, but Connor's, I just want to clear the air. Connor's team, McGregor Sports Entertainment, did reach out to my foundation, the donation to the Kid Fight Foundation, and we have huge plans for that. So Connor, man to man.
Pleasure, brother. My pleasure.
You're going to help a lot of people with that.
Those who didn't know what was going on behind the scenes just felt that Connor was being a gentleman. Others like to remind everyone that Khabib said he would humble him, but it was refreshing to see a more subdued and honest McGregor. Unfortunately, it didn't help his competitive edge. Dustin Poirier chipped away at Connor's front leg with brutal calf kicks. This hurt his mobility, stability, which left his face wide open. Dustin let his heavy hands fly and became the first opponent to ever TKO Connor in the UFC.
Dustin got hands,
this
man.
challenged the idea that Connor is one of the best strikers ever in the game, as he just got outstruck. Despite Connor losing the fight, he definitely didn't lose his ability to draw pay-per-views. The Cerrone fight and the Poirier fight still land in UFC's top 5 highest earning fights of all time, so they were still willing to do whatever was in Connor's best interest, and he wanted that rematch with Dustin Poirier, except this time, he was back to his old ways.
Boxing that opens up cat.
You're getting walked like a dog in that octagon on Saturday night. Your wife is your husband. Joe Lee's wife. Joe Lee's wife. You little activity.
You used to be a lot better than that, man.
A great focus on the opponent on the scales. What?
Throwing kicks this time.
Yeah, shut your mouth, you little fool. I'm gonna dance on your head. It's coming for him on Saturday night, and he knows it, and I know it. I'm gonna love doing it.
We knew humble Connor couldn't last long. The trash talk was entertaining, but he pushed things a little too far, bringing Poirier's wife into the banter. Fight fans were more than willing to put up with Connor's cocky attitude, but disrespecting people's families was just unnecessary, especially after what happened with Khabib. Plus, he was just being respectful to Dustin a few months ago. What changed? It came across as desperate, and it's these antics that drove away the respect that fight fans once had for Connor, with many of them actually rooting for Dustin to get the W. The rematch against Poirier started off amazing. In the first round, we got to see a mix of boxing, takedowns, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, submission attempts, ground and pound. This was shaking out to be one for the history books, and then Connor's leg just snapped in half. Dustin Poirier won the fight due to doctor's stoppage, and instead of exiting the fight humble, just like his first loss, Connor went on a pathetic, blabbering rant in his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan.
You will try to do it to close the distance. This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give up. He said that he believes that one of the kicks that he checked is what broke your leg. There was no check. There was not one of them I checked. Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby. Hit me back on my check, you let it on. We'll be at the party, the win night too, baby.
Connor, your wife is in me DMs. Hey baby, Connor's wife. What the F? Disrespecting his own fiance.
That's
while
crazy,
trashing
man.
Another man's wife, then being carried out in a stretcher. A few years before, nobody would have predicted that this would be Connor McGregor's final moments in the octagon. Moreover, the message from Poirier's wife was revealed to be nothing more than a message request. She could have been thanking him for previously donating to their charity. All professional fighters have to face the ego-shattering decision to put down the gloves one day. It's clear Connor had multiple opportunities to call it quits, and even he wanted to, but he didn't. Now, Connor is a true warrior. Like many UFC
once you lose that
fighters,
fire,
they
you
typically
gotta
don't
bounce
run from
out, man.
challenges, but he
It's
seems
dangerous
to
after
exist
that.
in this destructive limbo where he wants to protect
Nobody does
and
well after
strengthen
that
his
point.
legacy as a fighter, but he also has nothing to prove because he is undoubtedly a legend in his own way. The more he steps in the cage, the more it becomes clear that he is declining from his peak, and he is
Telling
only
you, getting that
increasing his
WWE
chances
ring.
to get beat up. That is, unless he had some sort of magical substance that could make him bigger and stronger. After some time outside the octagon, fans began to notice Connor's size change, looking drastically
big as
different than
hell.
his former self at different weight classes.
You look at the
Allegations
same
of
dude
steroid
again. It's a
use
fifth
began to
version now.
arise.
You see the circling of acne. Like the guy has some acne that may have not been there before, and this This bald spot coming in pretty f***ing hot, bro. These are all, telltale androgenic side effects that have, I guess not been apparent on him in the past.
Joe Rogan even suspected he was on gear by saying, looks like his piss would melt that USADA cup. USADA is the organization responsible for overseeing the UFC's anti-doping program, conducting drug testing, and enforcing policies to ensure a fair and clean competition. According to the UFC's anti-doping website, Connor McGregor was not tested during the year of 2022, and Connor basically admitted to using substances in a tweet where he wrote, "Everything was fully disclosed before I began. The state of allowance for athletes to recover from injuries as horrific as the one I overcame must be assessed." Connor was using steroids, but many fans didn't care because he was doing it for injury recovery and he was not fighting competitively. However, it was the other substances he used that seemed to take control over his life. Just take a look at this clip where he cannot finish a sentence, practically speaking gibberish, licking his lips constantly, and has to remove the drink because he admits he can't control himself.
Oh, I didn't have creative control of it, so I wasn't. Really? No, I don't. I'm the creator. I'm the creator, right? So I wasn't necessarily happy with it. I know the story, the way I wouldn't change it, but I would add my magic, and the fact that my adding of the magic wasn't, kind of torn away on when it was not supposed to be. I felt a bit led into it, to be honest. But I'm happy how it went. It is what it is, and on with we go. It's another one. I 4 of them now.
Man, what?
We had an hour series. It was on RTE, the National Broadcast Series. Then with the 6-part series, and then with the movie, red carpet, cinemas, Netflix. Come here, swap this out. Swap this. I'm not that strong, lads. I'm a strong lad, but I'm going to train later on, so I want to hold it. And I'm going to drink 10 of them tomorrow.
Anyone give me a thumbs up? Yeah, okay, Paul.
Give me a fresh one, man. Just in case.
He's either had too many...
Man. That's so damn sad. I saw that. I forgot how bad it was. Like, man, I wonder what Ariel Helwani was thinking sitting right there. I would love to hear his take. I wonder if it's out there, if he talks about it at all. Probably not, though. Being a journalist, you can't do stuff like that. But that had to be shocking and baffling at the same time, man. He's just incoherent, man. You can't understand a word he's saying. The combination, it's like CTE meets substance abuse meets I'm drunk right now. Ooh-wee.
Beers or too many nose beers, or both. Now, Connor has always been full of energy and excitement, so many of his defenders just believe he is a high testosterone alpha male full of life, whereas others analyze his frequent jaw movements, inability to sit still, twitching, scratching and touching his nose, all as signs of cocaine usage. And considering his brother-in-law is convicted drug dealer and money launderer Graham the Wig Wella, the largest cocaine trafficker in Ireland, makes for a solid argument that Connor has...
What the fuck? How did I know this? That's insanity. That's crazy company to keep, man. Yo, the company you keep is mad important. Real talk. You can't be kicking it with the biggest coke dealer in your country when you... Yay, Connor, my man.
Has the best plug for that booger sugar. Connor's love for the party life has gotten him in many questionable situations before. In the beginning of 2023, he faced his 3rd accusation of assault from a woman in Ibiza. According to the report, the woman said she knew McGregor because they were from the same neighborhood in Dublin and had been invited to his birthday party in Ibiza on July 16th. However, when the party moved from a club to McGregor's yacht, the woman alleged that the situation took a violent turn. The woman claimed McGregor began to verbally insult her appearance before he kicked her in the midsection and punched her. The woman told police that she then jumped from the yacht in an attempt to flee McGregor. She was picked up by a Red Cross boat and then taken back to shore. It was as if he was possessed. I knew that I had to get off the boat because I thought he was going to kill me. The situation...
What the fuck, man? She jumped off the boat? She thought she was going to die? The Red Cross had to pick her up? Doug, this dude is... From throwing dollies at buses, he does not care, man. He ain't there no more. He ain't there no more, man. There ain't no way. Ain't no way that dude that we saw earlier when he was first starting out would ever do some shit like that at that point of his life. Like, it's crazy where he was to take you, man. I mean, I want to come up in this world. Shit, I want to come on the fashion. I feel like it's happened already where I would stay humble if it does happen. But goddamn, doing shit like that. Hell no, man. You can't let shit get to you, man. You can't. Never change who you are for anything, man. Real talk. You can't get it back, and it's only going to lead you to bad places. Shit, I wonder if Connor's ever gonna come back.
Sounded like something straight out of
Recover.
a horror movie, and it was followed up by his 4th assault allegation. On June 9th, 2023, Connor McGregor attended the Miami Heat basketball game when he was asked
that's
to
where
do
he
a
hit the
boxing
fucking
skit with the
mascot.
But Connor proceeded to absolutely level the man with a vicious left hand, nearly knocking him unconscious before he stood over top and delivered another devastating blow. The man in the suit was knocked out and taken to the hospital. That very same night, in the same venue, McGregor was accused of assaulting a woman in the bathroom. According to the alleged victim, McGregor violently forced himself on her in a VIP men's bathroom at KCA Center. She said that McGregor aggressively kissed her before also attempting to force her into multiple X acts. She then took it one step further, pointing the finger at the Miami Heat and NBA security for aiding McGregor in the attack by separating her from her friend and forcing her into the bathroom. A video was released of the incident where it looks like Connor comes out, holds out his hand, and she grabs his hand as they consensually go into the bathroom surrounded by security. And they were also seen chatting with each other at a party. Connor vehemently denied the allegations. After a thorough investigation, including a review of videos and interviews with eyewitnesses, the authorities have concluded that there is no case to pursue against Connor McGregor. After successfully beating every case and allegation, many people believe that Connor is just a target of others looking for a payday. But there is one common denominator with all of these controversies: the party life. Connor has said it himself. If he's not busy, that would be destructive to his life.
I like to be kept busy. It keeps me in check. It keeps me in line. If I was not busy with everything at my disposal, that could potentially be dangerous, you know? That could be catastrophic.
Without fighting in the octagon, Connor keeps himself busy through his business ventures in Proper 12, Forged Irish Stout, McGregor Fast, the Mac Life Media Company, Title Sports Therapy, the list goes on. Unfortunately, his ventures rely on him to just sort of be the face of the company, be social, and be the champ, not necessarily worry about the day-to-day operations, which clearly leads him to late-night celebrations constantly. Connor has 4 children and a fiance. I don't think anyone is expecting him to be a stay-at-home
filmmaker
dad,
from
and I don't
Super
think
Size Me
anyone
right
is
there.
blaming him for
Morgan
wanting to
something?
enjoy the fruits of his labor. He earned it, but it seriously seems to be taking a toll on him, which was evident during the promotion of his movie Roadhouse alongside Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake's a consummate professional. 75 movies made. You know,
Dog, the
I'm
twitches.
blessed to have entered into the movie alongside him. He has 75
Jake is like
movies
son.
made. I have 75 bar fights made. And that's it.
Connor is literally involuntary spasming here from drugs / after come down. I've had this. He definitely just did a huge sesh of hard drugs. Another video of him went viral for his tweaking and twitching.
What can you tell us about your acting debut? Obviously, it's your first experience.
Hard work, but you know, we got it done. It's in the bank for life. You know, you put something in the bank, maybe it's not going to be there for life. You might spend it. This baby is in there for life, and I'm ecstatic about that.
And it seems like every other day we are seeing a new Connor video where he displays excessive energy, agitation, and having a short attention span.
Floyd,
Oh.
you're right, you're doing bad conversations, trying to get a boxing match at 155.
I grab him by the scruff of the chest and slap that little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
Joe Rogan explained what might be Connor's mindset perfectly.
So you've got consistent trauma to your dome over and over and over again. And then you get a little bit of coke, and you're feeling good again. I bet, you know, you get addicted to it. And the guy obviously likes extreme things, right? Which is why he's such a great fighter. They're wild people. That's why John Jones likes too. They're wild people.
Fighters are
Real
borderline
talk,
insane.
yo.
They crave the energetic, adrenaline-filled lifestyle of nearly dying inside of a cage. It's been well over 3 years since Connor last fought, and although he was kind of a maniac when he was preparing for his matches, he was a lot more composed than he is now. It seems like he is getting his fix that he used to get from fighting from his indulgent
Filling that
lifestyle,
void, or
and
thinks
it
he
may
is.
have permanently destroyed his fighting career. His 2024 bout against Mike
I mean, I used to play football. I played in college, you know, and I played linebacker, you know what I mean, and defensive end. So pretty high intensity positions. A lot of adrenaline involved, you know, a lot of head trauma too, you know what I'm saying? But there is something to be said about people who are drawn to sports like that. And I would look at combat sports as more of an extreme version of that personality that you're a roughneck, man. You want to get in there and you're willing to go to places most people ain't willing to go to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're putting your life on the line in a lot of ways, your body on the line, your future quality of life on the line. So he's right when they say borderline insane. And then when it's just one-on-one, you're going into something extreme as fighting, MMA, boxing, all of that. You've heard a lot of the greats talk about they've been pressed to the point where they had to make a decision. No, I'm either going to win or I'm going to die kind of thing. And I can relate to that mentality to a degree. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're out there and that warrior mode is activated, that's a whole different mindset only a little bit of the population really understands. So when Joe says that, you know, when you get that head trauma, he's not feeling like himself. He feels like shit all the time. Then he probably hits that coke. He feels like his whole self a little bit. So he feels ready to rumble. And he wants... God, I don't envy that position at all, man. I don't know how he's going to come back from this. I mean, it's so much adrenaline, serotonin, all of that shit just flooding him all the time. And if it's not, then he's trying to find a way to flood the system with something else. God damn, man. Sad.
Michael Chandler was delayed for a year before being officially announced with a card and a date, and then canceled due to Connor breaking his toe. This has led to theories that the UFC is locking him up in his contract, which requires him to fight 2 more matches, and refusing to let him complete them. But why? We already know he is a guaranteed big money draw, so it can't be that. The only logical explanation is that he has drifted too far down the slopes, that he is unfit or unwilling to stay disciplined and sober throughout the entire 6 to 8 month fight camp. Perhaps he wants to just go on and fight Logan Paul like he announced on Twitter, or fight Manny Pacquiao, or do some other worthless exhibition that will bring in hundreds of millions of dollars and barely forces him to focus on a real training camp. Now, it would be a terrible business move for the UFC to just go and let him make money for someone else, which leaves him at a standstill, bend to the knee of Dana White, or never fight again and fill the adrenaline void with this destructive lifestyle. And as if all of this couldn't have gotten any worse, Connor McGregor was found guilty in civil court of sexual assault in the form of R-word. According to the official record, the alleged assailants were Connor McGregor and his friend, James Lawrence. The alleged victim was Nikita Hand. The alleged assault took place in December of 2018 after Connor's loss to Khabib. In 2019, Nikita Hand tried to pursue a criminal case against the 2 men, but prosecutors did not bring criminal charges against Connor McGregor. The reason was outlined to the jury during the case, claiming that a very high standard of proof would be needed, and things such as reliability and consistency of witnesses, the fact that Miss Hand had no recollection of having sex, the amount of alcohol and drugs she consumed, and her demeanor in the CCTV footage were all factors that led to their decision. Now, criminal cases are kept private, therefore victims remain anonymous, and details of the investigation were not revealed. That changed when Miss Hand decided to pursue Connor in civil court. The purpose of a civil claim is most often to seek monetary compensation for damages done. The trial was very public, with members of the press in each courtroom session, reporting the details to the people of Ireland. This trial was also during their election, to which Connor announced that he intended on running for office in Ireland, but people were way more invested in Connor's trial than the election, and it was a true he said she said debate. Miss Hand and McGregor were a part of the same friend group, exchanging messages back and forth on Instagram prior to planning a meetup. McGregor was driven to her hair salon where she worked, where he picked her and Miss Keeley up after 10 a.m. McGregor also admitted during the case that he had cocaine in his car. Bottles of alcohol were ordered to the room shortly after midday, and McGregor's bank card was also used to buy condoms. They both admitted to taking cocaine that night. From there, Miss Hand accused Mr. McGregor of pinning her to a bed and R-wording her. She says the MMA star choked her 3 times before the assault. McGregor claimed they had athletics that was consensual. Since their stories were polar opposite, it seems like the guilty verdict was made on the basis of forensic evidence. The jury has been provided with evidence that Miss Hand was brought by ambulance to the sexual assault treatment unit of Rotunda Hospital around 9:30 a.m. the following day in a terrified state and with extensive bruising all over her body. A general practitioner testified that internal bruising on her neck was consistent with Miss Hand's account. There has also been evidence that a tampon was wedged so far inside Miss Hand that it had to be removed with a forceps at the hospital. Connor's defense brought Dr. Farnan as a witness, claiming that bruises would take 24 to 48 hours to come up, and that they also can appear in a slightly different position to the trauma, can change in size and shape, and can change in color. The doctor also claimed that women having sex with a tampon in is a very common event, or many women forget that they are wearing one. The jury consisted of 8 women and 4 men who listened to a multi-day long testimony of Nikita recounting her horrific experience and Connor defending himself, ultimately finding him guilty of sexual sexual assault, and the civil court awarding her damages of nearly 250,000 euros.
I want to show Freya and every other girl and boy that you can stand up for yourself if something happens to you, no matter who the person is, and justice will be served.
After the trial, Connor tweeted, "Nikita Hand, vicious liar, appeal," and then went on to announce plans to appeal the outcome. Without accepting the guilty verdict, McGregor did concede to his infidelity, stating, "I should have never stepped out on the woman I love most in the world. That's all on me. I can't go back and I will move forward. I am beyond grateful to my family, friends, and supporters all over the world who have stayed by my side." 1 month before he tweeted this, a video went viral of him grabbing a woman's hair to dance with her while his fiancée was standing directly next to him, using this as proof that he has gotten so used to the party life and cheating on the mother of his 4 children. And if you thought this was the final straw for me, you'd be mistaken. She is still standing by Connor's side. She did not agree with his guilty verdict and wrote in an Instagram story, "Imagine a woman with her own boyfriend and child texting provocative photos of herself to another woman's man with a family and child on the way. I look forward to the day the world will see the footage of you on that night and the carry on of you. Not a bother on you, having the time of your life. This is the real evidence. My sons will be warned women like you exist in the world." At one point, people...
Yeah, that's tough, man, because it could go either way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at Trevor Bauer. He's proven that he was set up in something almost exactly like this, you know? So it's so tough because if you don't have, like, all the evidence, people are going to go towards believing the victim, right? Which is a tough position to be in for everybody, you know? But also, it happens when people set people up that are prominent, that are rich, to take a piece of their prominence and their money. Oh, man, you know, and if there's, I mean, I've seen some of the stuff where they show the footage, but that doesn't show footage that's in the room. It shows footage before, but it does look like she's down for the cause, and she has messages where they're sending stuff. And in the Trevor Bauer case, she basically said she wanted rough sex, and then she tried to use the fact that they were rough as, like, evidence that she was beat up because he obliged. And y'all be careful out there, man. You gotta be careful. Shit. If you're going to go to that spot, if you're going to go to things like that, it better be with, like, your significant other, someone you know very well, not on some random hookup, man. I mean, I know it's probably tempting. I know the energy probably like, yeah, hell yeah, but bruh, there's a level of trust needed for that, man. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's just wild to me, bro. Just be careful out there, y'all. You need, on either side, men and women, both be careful because predators exist on both sides, yo. You do not want to run into either one of them.
People felt bad for Dee, sticking by Connor's side while he ruthlessly cheats on her. Now many see her as an enabler and a victim blamer, sticking around for Connor's money since they are not married and she would not be entitled to half if they separated, as de facto partners are not entitled to much like they are in the USA. If history repeats itself, I'd imagine Connor is dying to get back in the UFC and take the spotlight away from his assault case. Those who hate him make it known that they'd prefer he fade into oblivion. Those who love him question if he should return to fighting in fear that he will only further stain his crippled reputation. But even if he never fought again, we all agree that there is no way he will step away from the spotlight. So what will he do after he puts down the gloves? He has been taking the role as the promoter for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, as he is an investor in the company. This seems like a natural fit for Connor. Taking on a Dana White-esque position would allow us to still get hilarious sound bites and bring some of that chaotic energy to the pre- and post-fight press conferences. But if Connor remains in the entertainment industry, there will be temptation all over. Late nights that lead to drugs, alcohol, and women. Is he capable of suppressing and overcoming his temptation? If not, or worse, if he actually is this monster some people believe him to be, then expect more allegations, more crimes, and eventually doing something that cannot be undone with money. There is no doubt that Connor McGregor holds a unique legacy in the UFC, one that cannot be taken away from him, but it's far from the one that we saw at his peak in 2016, all because he could not win the biggest fight of his life, the fight against himself.
Last month, when a UK...
Hush. We're going back to the wide shot. Hey, I want to say this. That fight he's talking about, the biggest fight of his life, that fight against himself, it's not over yet. It's not looking good, admittedly, but it's not over, man. We've seen crazy redemptions happen. And I want to see it. I want to see Connor McGregor cleaned up. I like to see him, come out and tell his tale, tell his story, you know, what he actually went through, you know, because the ultimate win would be put your tale out there, man, because in a lot of ways, man, you're both an inspirational tale and a cautionary tale. You know what I mean? Like, so many people could look up to him for so many things. That initial phase, him coming up from nothing when he's $60,000, Dana. That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful to see somebody pulling themselves up out of the muck in the mire that they felt like they've been stuck in, and then just elevate themselves to a whole new level in the stratosphere. That's beautiful. You know what I mean? And like anybody could learn from what it takes. That dude had to dig deep for that, you know? But then, you know, when he gets to the top, it's wild to see the combination, man. I mean, you might want to think twice before you take on a fighting career. You know what I mean? You burn twice as bright, but your quality of life lasts half as long. I mean, we've seen Ali. He was the other one I made the comparison to as far as just mic skills, right? But towards the latter half of his life, we didn't have that anymore. He had Parkinson's, and he just couldn't relay his thoughts the same way he used to, you know? So it's a beautiful game. I know passion burns deep, and some used to play a contact sport that did no physical favors for me. I don't judge anybody, man, because I never felt more free in my life than when I was out there playing football and smacking people, taking contact, all that, man. You live for that shit, you know? It's a weird, twisted thing, but it's real, you know? So shout out to all the Warriors, but unless you really cut from that cloth, think twice about going down those roads. And even if you are, you still should think twice about going down them roads. Man, but passion is passion, you know? And another field that I feel like there's insanity in halfway is racing, right? To transition to the other topic of today. Y'all remember about Ricky Bobby? The invisible fire scene. I'm on fire! I'm on fire! Oh, man, that shit had me cracking up, but I halfway wondered if that was based on some real shit. Because like growing up, my dad was always into racing, so I see a lot of NASCAR, a lot of IndyCar events, you know, on Sundays, you know, and I wanted to play video games on the TV. I look up in the corner of the screen, see lap 25 out of 500. Oh my, or well, I forget how many laps was 500 miles, but I'd just be mad. And so I didn't give racing as much of a shot as I should throughout my life because of that. But I've also had a knowledge of it that, you know, it probably wasn't very common among my peers just from proximity. So seeing this, man, I always wondered if it's some real shit because race is crazy. So y'all remember this scene right here? We're going to do a little bit of it. Not too much.
No. Oh.
Y'all remember?
Right, you're safe. We got you. We're here. I'm on fire. Okay.
It's all right, you're not on fire. I knew it, you're lying. I'm burned. There is no fire.
Y'all remember?
Come back here.
But something looks wrong. I mean, he's running around like he's on fire.
Oh my God, help me! I don't want to die. Oh, stop, drop, and roll.
So we won't use too much of that. But that's based on this right here. Rick Mears has a pit fire. It's 1981. I don't know what track they're at. But yeah, I saw this, I want to say like earlier today, and it just popped up on my feed as a short.
We got a fire there. You can't see it, but it's an alcohol fire. Look at people fleeing in every direction. It's Rick Mears trying to get out of his car. He just came into the pits. This could be very bad. You can't
Look at
see
this.
him there. See him waving his hand. There's Mears.
It's wild how they recreated this in a comedic fashion, but yeah. John C. Reilly's character right there. Ricky Bobby right there. Oh, can you imagine?
Look at those tanks right there contain fuel too. This is a very dangerous situation. They seem to be getting it under control now.
Invisible fires are also known as methanol fires.
Hey, chill.
This
chill.
fire can't be seen.
Chill. That's funny because that was my next video. So let's see what they actually talk about. Just jumping the gun on me. I need to get better about that. Cutting it off, man. My mouth's still double clicking. I still ain't got a new one yet, but that's coming. But yeah, let's see what's up with this.
Invisible fires are also known as methanol fires. This fire can't be seen as it burns invisible flames and smokeless. They are very dangerous. It is mainly used as
Look
a
at it
motor
bubbling.
fuel
That's
and
wild.
a biofuel additive for gasoline. Humans can't see this fire with naked eyes. We all know that different gases and chemicals burn in a different color. For example, copper chloride burns with blue flames, and borax burns with green flames.
So
Same like
wild
as
to see. It's
methanol
beautiful,
burns with
but
an invisible flame. It is more dangerous, just like another flame. Maybe it is more hazardous than other fires because you can't see the invisible fire.
Whew. Good Lord. Good Lord. Is this so? They might be just getting. Yep, this is one I wanted to cover next too. So they're just going through what I had. I see what they doing. Let's go down my reaction playlist. Don't be stealing my shit. Shit. But I wanted to hear the story for himself. I haven't watched this yet, but this is them talking about that pit stop that inspired the famous scene. Mind blowing, man. Let's see what they talk about. Can you imagine being on fire and no one can see it? And no one will believe you. Look absolutely crazy to people who can't see it. They think you fucking around. You imagine? No. No.
A splash of fuel come over the top of me and into the cockpit and hit the dash and down the windscreen and everything. And I go, uh-oh. And the race car was good. I mean, we were just, again, it was early in the race and biding our time and seeing what the track conditions were and thinking about, and talking to the team what kind of changes we were going to need to be making at the first stop and all of that, just doing our regular deal. And when we came into the first stop, the first pit stop, matter of fact, I think we'd just taken the lead. Now, probably some of the cars in front of us had pitted, but also it's because we'd worked our way forward already at that point. So the car was very good. I was very pleased with it. And we came in for the first stop, and I remember just pulling in and rolling to a stop and just thinking, routine stop, get this first one under our belt and go, and no real rush. And I'm sitting there waiting, and
glad it looks normal.
All of a sudden, I see this big splash of fuel come over the top of me and into the cockpit and hit the dash and down the windscreen and everything, and I go, uh-oh. Now I've got both hands on the wheel, and it ignites. And so my first thought is get to my seatbelt. So it seemed like everything was slow motion. It took my hand forever to come away from the steering wheel down to get to the seatbelt. So I quit breathing, fortunately, but I didn't have a breath because I was
This shit is crazy. I'm stressed out listening to this, man. I don't know if it's that the horns in the background, but god damn. He knew as soon as the fuel went over him. As soon as the fucking fuel went over him, the dude knew what was coming. That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't imagine that shit, man. You're so enclosed. You got the suit on. You got the harness over you. You got the helmet on, gloves. You got to get all that shit up off of you. Oh, damn, man. Damn. And he ain't got a breath. Oh, man. What a story, man.
Struggling to get out, and I didn't have a breath. But I quit breathing. And I kind of kept trying to keep my eyes closed so it wouldn't burn my eyes, and I got unbuckled and got the wheel loose. I don't remember now what all the scenario was, but ended up working my way out. Got out of the car. I remember I jumped down the side, stood down at the side of the car, like a dummy if I'd have remembered what they taught me in grade school, lay down and roll. Except we had a lot of fuel on the ground around the car too. But it would have helped because that was standing upright was what was helping the flames go up the helmet. But anyway, so I'm trying
up
to
the
block
helmet.
it with my hand.
Fuck no.
On, so I'm trying to block the flames from coming under my helmet with my hands, and I open my eyes and turn around. And I see somebody running toward me, so I closed my eyes again and waited, and I felt their hands at my helmet, trying to get the suit undone or the strap. So I kept my eyes closed.
Music is not helping.
I'm still not breathing. I still don't have
stressed.
a breath. And so I wait, and all of a sudden the hands go away. So I opened my eyes, and they took off running. I'd caught them on fire. Nobody knew I was on fire because methanol burns clear. And they thought they saw the car was on fire.
Just trying to help your boy out, and then all of a sudden you don't know
so
what the
now,
fuck. Ooh.
I'm thinking I'm on fire, guy. I look over and I see one of the fire marshals in the pit lane spraying the car, putting the fire out, and I see the fire extinguisher going. So I take off. I beeline across the front of the car and around beside the car and head over for the fire extinguisher. And evidently, I kind of relit the fuel on the ground as I ran through it. But I remember I closed my eyes again and grabbed the nozzle and stuck it under my helmet, and it quit. So I opened my eyes, and he's running. I caught him on fire.
Oh my God.
So I'm still not breathing. And
what the
all of this was only
fuck, man. We gotta go rewatch that video after this, the footage. He just catches shit on invisible fire as he runs around like that. This is some horror movie shit, man. Or like some superhero would have this power, super villain. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't affect them and they could just torch shit. You can't say that's wow. What the hell? What the hell? Play that shit. Now double clicking, mouse.
30-some
I can't wait to
seconds.
get a new mouse. I'm tired of this damn mouse.
Breath, but it seemed like 30 minutes. So anyway, I'm sitting there holding this fire extinguisher and nothing's happening with it. And I start looking around and I see my dad running around. And he comes running around the corner. He was the only one that really knew I was on fire because he knows me and he knows I don't move that fast for anything. So I had to be on fire. But so he reaches down and grabs the extinguisher and stands back away from me because he didn't have any fire gear on either. But he stood back away from me and got the thing spraying again and ended up putting me out.
Pops for the rescue, man.
That was a long
shout out to
34
Pops.
seconds.
Third
No breathing.
I mean, crew guys' shirts were on fire. I mean,
Oh, it was the whole thing, it was a big deal, and it eventually helped create new rules down the road. It was one of them.
Shit.
Now we're back into the Rick Mears pit. The biggest risk there is inhalation of flame or heat or toxics where you can severely burn your lungs. Now he was had his helmet on, Jim, and of course that could have helped him. Look at all that stuff.
A terrible moment there, terrible moment, and obviously he has at least been helped a great deal by that clothing.
Shit. You burn your lungs, yo. What? Oh, man. That's legit one of the most horrifying YouTube videos I've ever watched, man. We watched all these stories of people getting lost, cave people getting stuck in crevices while they're spelunking. Keep your ass out of caves. I'm never. But anyway, that's crazy, man. You could burn your lungs. You catch your people on fire, and they can't tell. Your car's on fire. There's fuel on the ground that you're catching on fire. God damn, Rick. Fucking me. Let's go back and watch that again. The old footage here.
Invisible fires are also known as...
This one. All right. I'm going to put it back up on the screen. Now that we done heard the whole explanation, let's rewatch.
We got a fire there. You can't see it, but it's an outlaw fire. Look at people fleeing in every direction. It's Rick Mears trying to get out of his car. He just came into the pits. This could be very bad.
You see him heading over.
See him waving his hand.
There's the dude helping him.
There's a mechanic who's really on fire. Rick Mears is on fire himself. He's on fire.
That's where it quit.
Still not getting that man. The mechanic's still on fire. You cannot see the flame. It's an alcohol fire. Look at those tanks right
There's
there.
Pops putting them out.
This is a very dangerous situation. They seem to be getting under.
Oh my God, man. Oh man, here, let's go to the horror of ethanol fire. This guy's gonna break it down for us.
If asked for the worst ways.
God damn. Rick Mears. I heard that car is on display at the Indian Museum. That'd be something to see. See what I'm saying about that double clicking, man? His mouse.
To die, burning is probably pretty high on most people's lists. Even if the incident isn't fatal, nobody wants to get burned. Imagine then an invisible fire. You're engulfed in completely transparent flames. Because you can't see it, you don't know how to escape it. And worst of all, nobody will know how to help you or even realize you're in need of help.
Nightmare fuel.
Methanol is a flammable chemical often used as fuel. Compared to gasoline, which has a carbon content of around 87% by weight, methanol is only about 38% carbon. With much less carbon to burn, methanol fires do not emit as much light as gasoline fires. Methanol burns with a transparent blue light, enough to illuminate the dark, but it's practically invisible in daylight. It also doesn't produce smoke. Methanol also has a lower rate of combustion than gasoline, meaning it burns slower and doesn't get as hot. This means a methanol fire is technically easier to contain than a gasoline fire, but if you can't see it, you can't contain it. This is evident in the 1981 Indianapolis 500 pit fire. Rick Mears is pitting on lap 58. While he waits for his crew to service his car, a refueling hose starts spraying fuel before it's connected to the car. This covers Mears, his crew, and the car in methanol, which ignites when it comes into contact with the engine. They are engulfed in invisible flames. The crew flees. They can feel the fire, but can't see it. Panic ensues. Rick Mears jumps out of his car. He is on fire.
This could have went so much worse. Can you imagine if it did?
Go down his throat, realizes he must hold his breath. A safety worker tries to remove his helmet, but catches a light and runs away. He jumps the barrier and runs to someone with a fire extinguisher. They try to put Mears out, but catch fire themselves. They drop the extinguisher and run away, leaving Mears to pick it up and try to extinguish himself. Mears' fueler, having already been sprayed with extinguishers, has trouble alerting the crew that he is still on fire. He flails around both in reaction to the burning pain and in an attempt to signal he needs help. Rick Mears' father rushes to his son with a fire extinguisher and puts him out, and the safety team manage to extinguish everything else. Rick Mears and 4 of his mechanics were sent to hospital, and Mears had to have plastic surgery on his face, particularly his nose. Thankfully, however, no one was seriously injured. This is not always the case for accidents involving the combustion of methanol. In 2005, at the Butler Motor Speedway in Michigan, USA, 49-year-old Rudy Corsini was working as a fuel man during that day's races. Corsini was in a fuel shed constructed of wood, transferring methanol from one container to another, when suddenly there was a spark, suspected to have come from improper wiring at the pumps. This spark ignited the methanol and caused an explosion. Corsini was engulfed in invisible flame as all around him the fuel shed caught fire, igniting gasoline and propane. Despite this, Corsini somehow managed to escape the burning building. A race car driver who was also a firefighter came to his aid, wrapping a shirt around his face to extinguish any burning methanol and protect him from inhalation. This man pulled Corsini away from the scene, and some thousands...
That's unbelievable. A race car driver who just happens to be a firefighter was there on site for this. Shit, bro. So I'm looking out for you there, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. And that's 2 hellacious things to be. A race car driver and a firefighter, bro. You just love adrenaline. You one of them. You one of them. I'm glad you put that adrenaline addiction to productive use for society, though, my man. Do a little something for you, a little something for society. Respect.
Spectators were evacuated as fire departments quickly contained the large fire. Corsini was flown by helicopter to a burns unit at a nearby hospital. He suffered 3-degree burns to 90% of his
3-degree
body.
burns. Never heard
Rudy
that.
Corsini died of his injuries the following day.
Oh,
methanol fuel
fuck.
is still widely used in racing,
Guess
and
it
one of the
wasn't
reasons is, believe it or not,
fortuitous as I
safety.
thought.
As previously mentioned, it burns slower and cooler than gasoline. Also, unlike gasoline, it can be put out with plain water. You'd think the fact that it's practically invisible in daylight would make it much more dangerous, but actually, its visibility is considered to largely be a good thing. The lack of flames or smoke means a fire doesn't create a visual obstruction, which could be a huge problem on a racetrack, posing a serious risk to safety workers and other racers.
Oof.
Of course, the downside to invisible flames
What the hell
is
accident was
detecting
that?
them, as we seen with Rick Mears' incident. The level of confusion and panic it inspires is much harder to quantify than its rate of combustion or temperature. Methanol fires may be technically safer, but they're still terrifying. You
Yeah,
can be on
hell
fire,
yeah.
but when you look down, you don't even know where to start to put it out, and neither will anyone watching you. They might set themselves on fire if they come to your aid without realizing what's happening. You might not know which way to turn to get away from the fire, or avoid more sources of methanol, which is transparent in its liquid form. And all the while, you're breathing in invisible flames and burning your lungs. That is the horror of methanol fires.
Man. Why do I feel like I gotta see that footage?
We got a fire there. You can't see it, but it's an alcohol fire. Look at people fleeing.
It's an alcohol fire, he said. Now I'm curious, man, after seeing all that footage. I gotta know about these accidents, man. Now we're free flowing with the stream. We done got through the scheduled programming. Let's see what they got. Ever. I'm just gonna type ever. The most insane racing can. Nah, man, we need all time, bro. Them old school ones were probably really where it's. I don't want to watch the Intimidator die though, man. I remember that. That was sad, man. Fucking. This might be a little bit too morbid, man. Wow. Let's go. Acid dipped. What the fuck? Oh, cheats. Okay, let's see this right here. Let's see. None of the wrecks are fatal. I love it. Damn, man. Dale Earnhardt. I remember that as a kid. What?
Oh, trouble. Steve Park is off into the infield. Another car valve over on his lid. It's Parkindale Jr. Terrible crash.
These dudes are insane, man.
Junior to the bottom of the track. Junior will win at Daytona.
That's the finish. Oh my God.
11 gets kind of stuck in the middle there and comes across the Ford's bumper. As he does, he spins back in.
Is there a COVID or something? Where is everybody?
Projected off the other cars right up into the fence.
Oh goodness, it's like oh
Oof.
my God. Goodness gracious.
Head on. Oh God.
Like Morse said, got
Shit like this, why I would never get in a race car, man. Growing up watching these races. You all are insane that get into these vehicles. I'll give it up to you. Some of the largest cajones on the planet, yo. Mark Martin. I remember that name.
Ricky Craven in car number 41. That's
Ricky Craven. Look at this
against
shit.
the outside wheel fence, back down on the track and was hit again.
This is Carmageddon for real.
Upside down. Schrader's number 25. Side over side, end over end. Another car in trouble and also getting airborne.
Terry Labonte is involved. His car spinning around on the grass.
Is it weird? This makes you want to play Gran Turismo in VR? It's a very fun experience. Oh! That wasn't fatal? How?
Hit like this.
Let's take a look.
This
I
shit
think
made me
you're
rub my
gonna see him
eye
get
out.
loose the minute he turns down into the corner.
That was
and
natural. That would
just
oh
man. And that thing just
the
absolutely.
violence on that turn, yo. That torque.
I will guarantee
that
you that
spin.
impact was well over 180.
With so much
probably
energy, yo.
185 miles per hour. We've already seen 199 or
Those
better
cars
getting in there.
are not, I mean, they're light for cars. That's a lot of weight. That fool just went like a quarter of a mile in the air. Physics, yo. Physics. And that's why they be fighting. Like, bro, did you really just... Oh, shit.
What a lick. Oh my gosh.
Oh, shit. The fan? Oh,
You know,
my
and
God.
looking very carefully at the catch fencing that held, and I did not see any debris go into the grandstand.
My
Why?
Here's the
God.
got in.
You sure you want them good seats? You sure you look at that StubHub, baby? You sure that's the deal you want? Front row at the track. Come on, mouse.
You get one shot.
Big screen. There we go. Ah, see what I'm saying? Pray for me. This mouse killing me. There we go. Look at this. Into the, that's
unbelievable.
You know, and looking very carefully at the catch fencing that held, and I did not see any debris go into the grandstand.
Why? Here's the 4 got into the back of Ward Burton, I believe.
Ooh.
And then Burton's 22 got into Stewart. And everybody scrambles.
That car is
crazy how things take flight so easy.
It's getting hit. It's upside down. It's hit on its roof. It's on fire.
And then you got to drive through that cloud. Ricky Rudd. I remember that. Oh, my God. What happens to your organs, even if you're just staying in place in that cage? That shit is so violent, man.
Ford automobile out of control. Side over side several times. Lands in the grass just at the top of pit road.
And these guys are Dyson. Go ahead, BP. And there he makes contact. He comes down trying to get in front of Kurt Busch. They make contact. Watch that thing fly.
Watch that thing fly. It's so casual about that shit. God, I wonder how callous you get as a NASCAR announcer. You see every race, just all the bad wrecks.
Watch this hit. That's a hard one right here.
Good Lord. Just the look on the red M&M though, as it's flipping, he just, it's nothing. It's so counter to the chaos. Stay calm at all times, even in the chaos. That shit. Look how tore up that shit. I'm all pointing like you can see where I'm pointing. Oh! Oh! Nobody died?
Yep.
Nobody died.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Bruh. I've never even seen movies imagine crashes like this.
Not following the truck in front of him. Don't know what's going on there.
Whoa! Oh, look out! We got trouble. This is going to hurt.
Oh my God. That catch fencing, what do they make that shit out of, man? That's adamantium, fucking vibranium. What is that shit made out of?
Yep.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Head on into that Armco.
Fuller was trying to avoid hitting Jason Leffler. You know, you're thinking it looks like there's a lot of time to make decisions here.
My
But
face
this is a
is
split-second
stuck
decision.
right now.
You know, from Jeff Fuller to come. If you'll notice, as he comes into the picture here, he's heading right for the door for Jason Leffler. Decides to make a hard left.
Oh, he almost got.
with Jason
Oh my
Leffler,
God.
And went right into the inside wall, hit it. You know, at exactly the wrong spot with that opening.
Oh
flat
my
contact.
God.
And as you know,
How many times I say, oh my God, I need something else to say, but this is mind blowing.
These trucks are as safe as they are. Look at this truck just get out of control. Probably about the fastest part of this Speedway field, right out of the tri-oval.
It just starts tumbling.
That young man with his dirt racing background, I'm sure he's had many barrel rolls in his career, but none like that.
Many barrel rolls. I don't want one ever. Like, that's crazy.
It's not that bad, but it's the land.
All of a sudden things change, and so you can't put any blame on anybody, I don't think here. Although I think we do see a little contact between the 33 and the 5. But when he pulls out there, that car's automatically going to start coming back a little bit because he's come out against a brick wall of
That
wind
was fun.
right
You
there.
know how
Even though
heavy
he's
a
got
tire
run,
is?
That car automatically slows down when he pulls out there until he starts getting that help.
So but if you're Tony Stewart,
That's
or
wild.
get out of the
I hope it don't do the thing. Yeah. Don't double click on me. Don't double click me for that. Look at this tire though. And the rim. I don't know if the rim's still attached. It looked like it to me, but maybe I'm wrong. There we go. All right.
And I've been up something like that. The flipping's not that bad, but it's the land.
All of a sudden
The
things
flipping's
change,
not
and so,
that bad. Come
you
on,
can't
bro.
Put any blame on anybody, I don't think here. Although I think we do see a little contact between the 33
Watch
and
this
the 5.
tire.
But
Look at this
when
thing.
he pulls out there,
Woo!
that car's
Off of the
automatically
hood.
coming back a little bit because he's come out against a brick wall of wind right there. Even though he's got to run, that car automatically slows down when he pulls out there until he starts getting that help.
So but if you're Tony Stewart, and you're trying to get out of the gas and you're getting hit from behind, have you ever had that happen where you get hit from behind and you can't actually slow your car down and try to avoid that wreck?
Somewhat reminiscent of the
spraying
Ryan
shit.
Vickers, Jimmy
Wow.
Johnson contact in the Cup race last fall.
really just kind of a stack-up effect. Like one of them got on the brakes and it's kind of forced. Yeah, look at Tony Stewart just missing his crash.
That looked like it could have went so much worse.
It gets exciting.
I mean, it's bad, but
about that there's nowhere to go as you come off of these corners, and when something like this happens, you really have make a commitment, and you've got one opportunity really to miss this wreck. Tony Stewart did a great job. Some others got.
He was right here in the tri-oval, nearing the starting line. Right rear, it begins to shred, and the car goes out of control. You're at
I wonder what year this is.
miles an hour. You can see the right rear going. You see the debris.
210 miles an hour. This is before restrictor plates, man.
Bobby, the car goes backwards. The aerodynamics get underneath the car, and Allison gets up.
Bobby Allison. I remember him too. The Texaco car back in the day.
They're not built to go backwards. Right underneath Harold Kinder. Harold, he stayed in there. Boy, I'll tell you. Talk about.
Well, that was Davey Allison. My bad.
He's got the yellow flag out right away. That is a.
Well, it was like his dad or his brother or something. Rest in peace too. He died racing back in the day.
He got up there and I don't know
in
if
the 28 car. I remember that 'cause my dad worked for Texaco, so we had a little model of 28 cars at the crib.
Right there, and a little bit can mean someone can get into you from behind.
That shit was fast too.
Yeah, you know, I guess that's possible. Shane Hall was riding. Shane Mill was riding mighty close to him, even in the middle of the turn there. So it's hard to say. Won't know.
That smoke cloud is the scariest part, man. Some video games do a good job of recreating that. Driving through that shit.
11 in the points. 8 was involved. But boys, what a difference this race is.
I don't know if you ever driven through thick fog, man, but can you imagine it doing that at 200 miles an hour?
Only 2 in the top 11.
Wow. Wow. Are we on a rabbit hole right now? That was insanity. That was insanity. The worst crashes of the century. 18 minutes, a long ass video. 12 worst NASCAR crashes.
NASCAR is known for its high speeds, daring oval races where drivers race side by side at speeds of over 200 miles per hour. This racing style comes with many dangers, often resulting in huge wrecks. From Randy LaJoie's scary shunt in 1984 to Ryan Preece's disastrous
what the fuck?
2023. We'll look at all the biggest moments in between, so get ready for some wild, high-speed action. You're watching Racers Reverie, and these are the worst crashes in NASCAR history. Make sure you hit subscribe for more videos just like this. First up is one of the most jaw-dropping crashes ever. Throughout the decades of NASCAR history,
it's crazy that can happen
moments are as
to a car.
embedded in fans' memories as much as this crash from Mike Harmon during practice for the 2002 Busch Series race at Bristol. The track is known as Thunder Valley, and on this day in
Bristol's super short.
Mike Harmon found out why. While traveling through turn 2,
well, half-mile
in a matter of seconds, he suddenly lost control,
that was
slamming hard
violent.
into the wall on his right.
And then, shit.
Harmon hit the crossover gate, making for a tremendous impact. NASCAR said the gate hadn't been secured properly, so as Harmon made contact, his car split down the middle, was torn into 2 pieces, and instantly burst into flames. It
and then
lifted
blasted by the guy coming in the corner behind him. Bow!
Being hit by another car at
shit.
This caused a massive secondary impact for Harmon, spinning his car and leaving spectators expecting the worst. Miraculously, just moments later, Harmon
gets
climbed
out
of his crumpled wreck, which was made easier by the fact that the whole cockpit had been shattered and was completely exposed to the elements. Safety measures in NASCAR were tested on this day, and Harmon luckily came away with very minor injuries, and went
engineering,
on to
man.
the race later that weekend. Second up is a more recent crash, but that doesn't mean it wasn't as vicious. The harrowing crash that occurred during the 2020 Daytona 500 involved Ryan Newman on the final lap. Just before he was about to take glory in NASCAR's biggest race of the year, fans watched in shock as his number 6 car was hit by Blaney and catapulted into the air, causing it to flip in an insane turn of events.
Holy mackerel, they're wrecking big time on the front stretch.
In another scary turn of events, it then landed on its roof in a massive wreck. And
how far did it travel? That's unreal.
Continued to slide down the track with
like a half a mile.
And quickly catching on fire once it came to rest. This crash was a massive reminder of the danger that is inherent in all racing. especially in
so
super
much
speedway
kinetic
racing at
energy.
tracks
It's
like
just
the Daytona
unfathomable.
International Speedway.
I know we got numbers to show the
Amazingly,
speed and all
ongoing
this,
safety
but
innovations in NASCAR
how much does that
meant
car
Reed
weigh going that
survived the
fast?
massive shunt. Next up is definitely one of the hardest crashes ever witnessed in NASCAR. Michael McDowell's bone-chilling wreck while attempting to qualify for the 2008 race at Texas Motor Speedway is one that fans will never forget, as he went out for his single-lap qualifying attempt. McDowell's number 00 car hit the oil-absorbing material in turn 1 that was put down for the last car's engine failure. This caused him to suddenly lose control at a speed of 200 miles per hour, causing his car to
I can't imagine what the world looks like at 200 miles an hour, let alone flipping through the air.
Down the track, taking insane bumps along the way. The car then came to rest.
How much of that do you
mangled ball
even remember?
Although the crash was a heart-in-mouth incident, McDowell managed to climb from the car uninjured. Next up is probably the most chilling crash that ever occurred in NASCAR, this time in the NASCAR Truck Series. During the 2000 Daytona Truck Series race, Jeff Bodine's world was literally
Bodine? That's what I was. It's not Bodine. It's Jeff Bodine.
His truck was hit by another driver, causing an insane wreck. Unbelievably, it was thrown up and into the fencing at over 170 miles per hour. Airborne and barrel rolling multiple times, the breathtaking spectacle continued as it was ripped apart by the fencing as it flew down the track.
What's going on there? Whoa! Oh, look out! We got trouble. This is
I thought they were going to show the in-dash view. Oh, man, that sound.
Being hit again by multiple cars in what looked more like an airplane crash than a car accident.
Serious.
As his truck was ripped to shreds, debris was scattered onto both the track and the fans in the grandstand, who got far closer to the action than they would have liked. Incredibly, Bodine survived the crazy wreck with only a few broken bones. Carl Edwards' unfortunate crash at the 2009 Aaron's 499 at Talladega Super Speedway is one that many fans regard as the best
example
ever in NASCAR history. Edwards was about to take a momentous victory at Talladega, but that was before Brad Keselowski got involved. On the final corner before the checkered flag, Keselowski tried an overtake for the lead on the bottom of the track. Edwards' car made contact, and it sent him into a massive flight into the fencing in a spectacular,
that's the story behind that? Oh, man.
By another oncoming car,
he's about to win?
showering the crowd with debris in the process.
Oh, I know, he was pissed.
The outright violence of the crash resulted in him not even finishing the race.
Oh!
He came away unharmed.
You 30 feet away from the finish line, and you was about to win, and you did not finish.
Still improving, but many of the standards and features that we are used to in today's world of motorsport simply did not exist back then. As a result, when fans saw a huge crash, they were very worried about the well-being of the driver. And injuries were far more common. So, when the 1987 Talladega 500 took place, spectators were left in awe of the almighty moment that featured Bobby Allison, especially those sitting right behind the fence where he crashed. As Allison drove at over 200
old boxy-ass old school cars.
Out of nowhere, his car went airborne and smashed the fence, being torn to pieces and leaving debris flying through the grandstand.
Everyone just caught some shrapnel. We don't hear them stories.
Luckily, the fence didn't break, or this would have been a lot worse. This crash was the reason for NASCAR introducing restrictor plates, which limited the top speeds of the cars to try and stop frightening and violent crashes like this from ever happening again. Sticking to the same era, and just a year later, in fact, the 1988
Petty right there, 43.
also saw a jaw-dropping crash involving
STP. There you go.
Petty. Coming off turn 4, Petty made contact with two other cars.
Him and Dale Earnhardt, coolest drivers ever, man.
Super Speedway, that rarely ends well. His car immediately took flight and began to flip, and within seconds was tumbling down the track upside down. The car then flipped almost 10 times in what was one of the wildest rides for a NASCAR driver ever, with fans being unaware that it was even possible for a crash to be as wicked as the one they were witnessing. Petty's car then
the hair, that granny hair in the middle.
And Petty thought the carnage was over.
School.
He was hit at top speed by another car, causing his own machinery to be torn up even more in a devastating.
You should just let it go gray though, Rich. That look a little too dark, bro.
Daytona in those days was definitely not for the light-hearted. Okay, now back to modern-day NASCAR Cup Series. wins. On NASCAR's second visit to the Daytona International Speedway in 2023, Ryan Preece was hoping to have a smooth day, avoid damage to his machinery, and go home with a solid result. But the ruthless nature of the fan-favorite Floridian track had yet another twist in store. This crash was unlike...
I've never been to a racing event like this. Oh my God.
More media coverage to the series than any car owner or promoter could imagine, but for all the wrong reasons. Reese moved down and hit another car, sending him flying high into the night sky and violently smashing into the ground.
Oh, and around goes a couple cars. Preece upside down. He's barrel rolling through the grass.
The car continued to
his car did that. Other car just had the right angle to keep it pushing.
In a stunning show of destruction. The car then bounced so high into the air that it was up about 5 times the height of the car before catching on fire. This was definitely
5 times the height. So what does that car look about? Like 4 feet tall? It's about 20 feet in the air? Jesus.
The scariest wreck in many, many years. And in case we needed another example that super Speedway racing can produce massive crashes involving flips, barrel rolls, and heavy hits, Elliott Sadler provided in this unbelievable 2003 smash at Talladega. During the final laps, the tension was building as the drivers fought for position, with Sadler in the top 3 for the lead. Pushing the limits of top speed and tight slipstream, Sadler, driving his number 38 Ford, got a bit more action than he was hoping for. As the pack roared towards the checkered flag, Sadler's
They're
car
so
was hit
close
behind,
together, man.
causing it to lift off the ground in a shocking turn of events. The car then barrel rolled multiple times into the banking of the corner, viciously throwing him down onto the grass, leaving onlookers momentarily breathless.
Elliott Sadler over once and a half and on his roof.
He was another victim of a nasty high-speed incident who had luck on his side, as he somehow survived this close call. Talking about close
he went home, had some dinner.
Wallace's massive crash during the Talladega race in 1993 remains a huge moment in his
Rusty
career.
Wallace.
Wallace was fighting for the lead on the final lap of the race, having competed in a fierce duel.
I thought his nickname was like Rubberhead or something like that. I remember hearing that.
In an attempt to finish as high as possible, the fan favorite number 3 of Dale Earnhardt hit Wallace's rear bumper, sending him spiraling off to the left of the track and completely out of control, triggering a spectacular airborne crash. Wallace's car flew through the air, looking momentarily like he would never return to ground, as his car stayed airborne for so long.
Evans wins and Rusty spins and gets airborne and flips.
Ooh wee.
He barrel rolled down
Rusty Wallace. The names, man. I feel like these guys are born to drive race cars.
Up his race car
Rusty Wallace. They just sound like somebody who do that shit.
Drivers in complete shock. Remarkably, Wallace emerged from this wreckage mostly unscathed. Now, what about this near disaster from 2015? Austin Dillon's harrowing crash at the Coke Zero 400 race in Daytona remains one of the biggest, scariest wrecks in NASCAR history. While driving the iconic number 3 car, Dillon was fighting for the
freaky
win on the
fast.
final lap, but disaster struck. Contact with another car sent him straight into the catch fence at close to 200 miles per hour, causing a Daytona finish for the ages. The impact was seismic, with Dillon's car being ripped apart by the safety fencing, which was
vaporized, Joe.
Open due to the violence of the crash. Debris from his car and others flew straight into the grandstands, injuring a total of 20.
God damn! That's crazy, man. This is a thing people do for recreation and fun and money if they get good. But only like the top 1% get good. What about the fuckers who just do this shit for kicks on a fucking weekend, yo? God, man, balls of brass and they weigh 30 pounds apiece.
Somehow, Dillon emerged from his car, which at this stage only consisted of his roll cage and a few panels, with only minor injuries to his tailbone and arm. Drivers and fans ultimately got lucky, as nobody was killed in this outrageously dangerous wreck. In case you haven't noticed, Daytona sure has provided us with plenty of talking points over the years, and in 1984, NASCAR's popularity was soaring, and it was every driver's dream to compete in the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500. So when they held 2 qualifying races before the 500 to determine who would get in and who would go home, drivers were giving it their all. But one driver who may have pushed it that bit too far was
Is
two-time
that pre-restricted plate era too?
champion Randy LaJoie. LaJoie suffered an absolutely horrific crash driving his number 7 car at the famous banked oval. While coming off a corner into the draft of another car, LaJoie lost control and headed down to his left at full speed, with zero chance of getting his car back on the straight and narrow. And he could hardly have picked a worse corner to lose control on, because in front of him was a low concrete wall with barely any crash protection. Bracing for an impending disaster, LaJoie's car went airborne, sideways, and was fired into the wall as if it was shot from a cannon, instantly breaking up on impact in a devastating blow. The destroyed wreck came to rest, billowing smoke in the process and leaving fans in awe of the remnants that lay before them. So there we have it, the 10 worst NASCAR crashes of all time. As we saw, big wrecks are common in high speed, close.
Well, there we have it, he says. And goddamn, I don't think I take more of that. That's just the level of violence and all of that energy hitting us. Goddamn, and then they get up, they're like, yeah, part of the game, and they get right back in the fucking car, get right back at it as soon as they recover, like it never fucking happened. Well, you can learn a lot from these guys. You can learn a lot. That's resilience. You know, you gotta face your fears. You can't let shit keep you away from what you love, man. God damn, that would keep me the fuck away. I wouldn't even go back to the racetrack if I was sitting in that front row and that shit. Wow, when the flames, the shrapnel. Nope. I give it up to him. I want to go to a race, but I'm sitting way up in them stands. I want a bird's eye view almost. I want to see the whole track. You know what I'm saying? Nope. I don't need to be in firing range of shrapnel. But I think that's going to do it for the stream today. Had a little freestyle fun at the end. Went down a little rabbit hole after the methanol fires, but I needed a little something. I don't know if that was the thing to the edge off. It stressed me out a little worse. But I appreciate y'all joining me. If you tuned in today, if you tune in after the fact, back at it again tomorrow, man. We doing this till we ain't no more. And I plan on seeing what I can do with this thing, man. So we're going to push it, do daily, have fun. Different topics. We'll see what we're going to do on tomorrow. And then, yeah, the world ain't lacking on giving us things to cover. This is getting crazier. So, yeah. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of your night. And I'm going to get off here and play some college football on my PS5. Have a little fun, man. Holla at y'all next time.